I now want to model some stairs which are on this side of the whole structure, as you have seen in the intro video. So we'll need to start with a plane. So let's press Shift A and click plane. And I need to move this all the way to the edge here. So let's just press G for grab and then lock it on the X-axis with X. And you should be by now pretty familiar with these controls. And we're gonna make use of snap. So let's hold Control and snap it right here to the edge. Okay, and now we need to make a top side of the step out of it. So let's go into the edit mode by pressing Tab. And let's switch to the top view with number 7 on the numpad and switch to the wireframe. So hold Z and go to the left. And now in the wireframe mode we can see these vertices right here. So let's just drag a selection around them, press G and then X. So we're gonna move this on the X-axis here, and let's hold Control again and snap it right here. And as you can see, when you're doing snapping in the perspective, by default it's set to snap to these large squares, which are 1 meter. And if you're in the orthographic view, you have these smaller subdivisions and each of them is 0.1. So we now know we have a step that's 0.2 meters or 20 centimeters on the X-axis. Now we'll need to rotate this, rotate the view with the middle mouse button, and we'll need to move the step up because this will be the top of the step. So let's press A to select all, then G and Z to move on the Z-axis, and I want the height of the step to be the same as the width. So let's just enter 0.2 on the keyboard and press enter. And the last thing I want to do is to extrude this side to finish the step. So let's press 2 to enable edge select and click this edge right here. And as you know from the episodes before, you can not only extrude the faces but the vertices and edges too. So let's press E to extrude, press Z to lock it on the Z-axis. And now, since we know this is exactly 0.2 high, we can just enter 0.2 and then minus to go to the other direction. And let's press enter. We have our first step and we need to multiply this. And there's an easy way to do this, and you already know the array modifier from the sushi episode, so let's use it. And there we used it to distribute the objects on the grid, but array modifier is very useful for modeling too, where you need some repeated pattern in the object. So let's do that. Let's tab out from the edit mode, switch to the solid view by holding Z and going to the right. And right now we can go to the modifier tab right here and add a new modifier and select array. Now we'll need to set some values for the array modifier, and we know we want to repeat it on the X-axis and the Z-axis. So on the X, which is right here, we'll just enter -1, so we want to go into the other direction. We leave the Y to 0 and let's set 1 for Z. Now let's just set count and we'll bring it from 2 to 8. That'll be good. And we just need to fix something. They're too wide in my opinion, and even if we move them here, they're still a little bit wide. So let's just tap right into the edit mode, go to the top view with numpad 7, Let's switch to the wireframe again and press 3 for the face select. And if you select this face here, but we need to select this as well. And right now let's go back to the top view, press S, then Y to scale. And I want to keep a little bit of precision, so let's hold Control and let's scale it. Yeah, I think this will be fine. Okay, we can tab out right now, rotate with the middle mouse and go back to the solid view. Now, every modifier has an apply button right here, where you basically take the generated geometry, modifier will disappear and you will have a new object with the geometry generated by original modifier. So let's press apply. And you can see modifier is gone. And now if you tab into the edit mode, you can see the whole stairs are one mesh. But there's one little thing we need to take care of. That's because we modeled this whole part, this whole step here, and it was repeated 8 times. There is an overlap on edges here. So basically every step has its own edge in the top and the bottom, and they're overlapping here where the steps join. So there's an easy way to take care of that. Just go to the vertex select by pressing 1 or clicking here and select all. Right now we are gonna merge the double vertices, and you can always look for this feature here in the vertex menu, where you can just find menu for merge vertices. As you can see here, it's Alt M, so let's press Alt M for merge. And we're not gonna use at center or cursor, but here at the bottom there's one more option which says by distance. Let's click that, and you can see here down there is a message removed 14 vertices. So they're already gone, but you can update these settings in this toolbar here, and if you expand this, you will see there is a merge distance value and it's set to 0.0001 meter. And what that does, the Blender actually takes all the vertices, compares their distances, and if any vertices are within this range, it's going to merge them for you automatically. So that's very useful if you have some geometry problems in the future, so you know you can look for this setting right here. Now we need to finish the stairs, so let's just close the geometry and let's start here at the top. Select these 2 vertices, so let's click here and by holding shift click this one, and we need to extrude the face downwards on the z-axis. And since we know the steps are 0.2 high and there are 8 of them, we need to extrude these 1.6 meter downwards. So let's press E, then Z, because we are extruding on the z-axis, and minus 1.6 since we are going down 1.6 meters. Let's hit enter, and when you're extruding, the newly created geometry is automatically selected. So if you look to the wireframe mode, you can see they're still selected, so we can take advantage of this and just hold shift and click this vertex here and this one here and press F to create a new face there. And the one last thing that remains is just to cover these openings to close the geometry, and we just need to select the loop here. So let's hold Alt and left click here, the loop is selected, and press F to create an n-gon, and the same thing on the other side. So let's hold Alt, left click and press F to create a new geometry. We can now tab out of the edit mode, and here we have a little overlap. The stairs are a little bit higher than we wanted, so let's press N to open this toolbar here. You can see there are scale values as well as the dimensions. and we know the structure here is 1.5 meter tall, so let's enter 1.5 for the Z value. Press enter. Now the stairs are correct height, but you can see the scale changed because these values are interchangeable, and if you change dimensions the scale changes too, and vice versa. But we can apply the scale, so let's press Ctrl A, which is a shortcut for applying values, and here you can choose to apply the scale. And if you look to the right and click scale, you can see the scale was reset to 111, but the dimensions stay the same. Now let's just name this object stair or stairs, and I want to move it in place a little bit, so let's press G, then Y, and move it somewhere here to the middle. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so now we have some stairs and we can move on.